What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Sasser House. My name is Emily Ann, and today we are getting in this landscaping that we put together last year. We've owned this house for about a year and a half, and we are going to upgrade our landscaping today. We were able to buy a bunch of stuff about a year ago, but now we are going to go back and finish it out as best that we can. So we're going to get in the car and head to Home Depot. And on the way there, I will let you know what it is that we are looking to achieve. And hopefully they have the plants that we want to get. Also, it will be a noisy video because if you listen, which I'm sure you haven't missed them, we have cicadas here in Middle Tennessee. Lots and lots and lots of them. So just consider that like a nice little ambiance for our day. Now, before we get into today's video, I want to show you what our home looked like when we first purchased it. There were some plants still from the previous owner, like these hosta, and I didn't know what they were, and I dug them up, and that is a huge regret. Please learn from my mistake. If you buy a new home, go through one season in your new home to see what plants are already there before you start digging things up. But the biggest thing that we wanted to add was a sidewalk to get up to our front porch, as well as some flower beds so that we could have beautiful mulch beds and flowers and things like that growing at the front of our house. So we got to work and we completely transformed the outside of our home last year. I will put a link to this video up above if you want to see this whole transformation step by step of what we did, what we planted, and how we did it. But another thing that we did was a DIY paver sidewalk. We have a video on that as well, and this has held up so well. We did this for under $1,000, and I have that video linked as well if you would like to check that out. But with any project, it takes maintenance. And now, a year later, this is what our flower beds are looking like. Whereas some flowers are thriving, some look a little puny this year. And a thing that I learned about perennials is that it takes about 3 years for perennials to truly thrive and grow. And so this is just the second year these have been in the ground, and they come back every single year. We've seen a lot of growth in some, and we see some looking kind of puny, but it's all part of the process, and there's still work to be done. Okay, we're here at Home Depot. This is my sweet friend Abby.
Hi.
And we are looking at some shrubs, and there is a dwarf Alberta spruce something right here, Conica, okay? And it says that it gets 6 to 8 feet tall, and I'm thinking it would be really pretty on either side of the porch. So we're gonna keep looking, but we're gonna maybe start with these and see what we think. They're very small right now. They're definitely babies. They're only $16.98. I feel like it might be worth a shot. Okay, so now I need some type of bush for the spot in front of the windows, and I want it to have a little bit of height. We'll probably get like a boxwood, but we'll see what they've got. Okay, we found the boxwoods, and they're a little bit expensive. They're $30 a piece, but
I need a head cashier, dial 393, head cashier 393.
that was $3.93. Okay, but I think that this is probably what we need because it says it gets 4 to 6 feet high. So 3 of them would probably really fill up that back area, even though it's kind of expensive. Hopefully they'll last forever. I think we're gonna bite the bullet and do it. We also picked up some of these beautiful flowering daisies that are perennials as well to plant in our side bed with our hydrangeas. So once we got all the plants we needed, we headed back home, and this was such a fun day because we had our friends over, so it wasn't just Chris and I doing these home projects, and we're so thankful for our friends' help. Our buddy Zeth right here is pulling up some of the topiaries that we planted last year. I'm so sad these did not survive the winter. I don't really know what we did wrong, but Chris's parents actually planted the exact same plant, and theirs didn't survive the winter in East Tennessee either. So that was pretty strange. Now, this is on the opposite end of our house, and this is something that I wanted to take care of last year, but we just didn't. These are some rose bushes that were planted by the previous owners, and they are like, I don't even know how to describe them, y'all. It's like they planted 4 rose bushes on top of each other. Like, you can see the bottom half of that plant is flowering and it's a beautiful rose bush, but then the top half is something completely different. And there's 2 of them back here, and they're also sprouting up all over the place. It just looks like a bunch of weeds to me. I know some people might be just appalled by that, but it just looks like weeds to me. So I've really wanted to get this out of our flower bed for a really long time. As you saw a little bit earlier, we tried to hook them up to our lawnmower and pull them out of the ground since they're covered in thorns. that was a fail. We ended up just cutting them and then pulling them right up out of the ground. These roots were absolutely insane, y'all. We did our best to pull everything up. And when I say we, I don't mean me. I mean my precious husband and our friend Seth. They were troopers to get in there and dig up these plants for me. And I have yet to decide what I'm going to plant on this side of the house. It is in the shade for part of the day, but then it gets full sun, evening sun in the evening. So I'm not really sure what I want to put over here, but if y'all have any ideas, let me know. But I wanted to show you that even things like this can be super fun with friends.
Okay. Big old puppy right there.
Now, who says weed pulling can't be fun, y'all? We had a ball this day with our friends, and we didn't work the whole time, but we sure were thankful to have some extra hands out in the flower beds helping us pull up these weeds and plants. And right here, you can see one of these little new plants that shot up from those rose bushes. So I'm glad that we finally got all of those out of the ground. Here are some other weeds that I could not get up on my own. I had tried to get these up earlier in the week, and they are so huge. I do not know what kind of weed this is or if it's a plant. I don't think it's a plant. I think it's a weed. And these had sprouted up, and every time I tried to pull them, I would always just break them off, and I couldn't get them up at the root. So I was so thankful to have Zeth's help to get these up and out of the ground. If y'all can hear me over the absolute roar of the cicadas outside, I am home. Finally, we have been out of town, and we are home now, and I am going to start planting some plants and pulling some weeds. All of those plants that we bought at Home Depot have just been sitting in my little landscape because I haven't had time to plant them. And some of them look a little sad. So I'm really hoping that I haven't killed them. But we're going to get those in the ground this afternoon. All right, thankfully our holes are still pretty much dug from our topiaries. It is so loud out here. If y'all can hear me, bless your hearts for watching this video. Between the cicadas and the lawnmower, pretty loud. But I still pretty much have the holes dug, so I don't really even have to dig much of a hole for this. And I'm gonna go ahead and get both of these in the ground on either side of our porch steps. I just planted this down here, but it needs 36 inches of space, and I think it would honestly look better if it was planted a little further out this way. So we're going to dig this up, dig a bigger hole somewhere else, and move it a little bit further out so it has room to grow out and it doesn't get all cramped up right here against our house. Then I just repeated that same process on the other end of our porch, and I am really excited about these, y'all. I think that when they grow, they're going to be really beautiful, and they're really going to stand out on either side of our porch, and they're also evergreen, so they should be beautiful no matter what season we're in. Okay, so we have our little porch trees planted. Now we've got our boxwood. So I want these in a row, these three, and I want eventually for them to grow tall and give us some really good height back there. So we got to get them in the ground. But the problem is, last year I planted this bush, and I planted another one of these over there, but it died. But this one is still alive, so I don't want to just throw it out, so I need to transplant that somewhere. And then this little plant came up this year, and it had a bud on it. And when I was pulling weeds, I told Chris, I think that is not a weed. I almost think that's like a plant. And he told me, after it bloomed, I knew it was a peony? You know what I'm talking about. I'll put a picture of it up here. I knew that's what it was. And he was like, oh, I've been pulling that up since we moved in. So, we didn't know that the previous owners had planted one of those peony bushes. Peony bushes. How do you say it? Peony bushes, okay? So, I've got to transplant that somewhere too. So I reckon I'm just going to dig them up and dig another hole and put them somewhere. Now, you don't see it in this video, but I did take the time to go inside and read up on peony bushes to decide what I needed to do, because I had a hard time digging up that plant if it was a beautiful, thriving plant. And while they are really incredible perennials and they do produce beautiful flowers, this one was kind of puny, and the flowers are very short-lived. And so I didn't want to leave this here. I really wanted to be able to update this space, and maybe I can transport it somewhere else in our flower beds. What an interesting plant. That's just about the goofiest thing I've ever seen. Turns out peonies are very easy to grow, and you can be sure that they will come back year after year after year. They will spread out, and I know that this plant definitely did just that when I dug it up. Okay, so I dug up these peony bushes, and they're huge. The little roots are huge, and they look like little fingers. Hold on, look at this craziness. Look at these goofy things. I've never seen anything like it. So I went inside to research if I could plant in that same spot, and I think we're gonna be okay. So we're gonna get the first of 3 of our boxwoods into our hole. I know boxwoods are not the most exciting plant in the whole world, but I think they will give some really needed structure to our landscape. Right now we have 2 large trees, and I'm not really sure what the varieties are at either end of the house, that were already planted and established from the previous owners, but we just didn't have anything else in our landscape that gave any structure or height. And I think that these will be really nice lining the back of our flower bed, and then we can fill in all around them as these grow. The hardest part of planting this stuff is knowing that it takes years for them to fully mature. So it definitely teaches you patience. So we made it to our last little spot, and we need to dig up this pretty bush that I planted last year. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, and I hope I don't kill it. But I want to match in a row with my boxwoods. We're going to get this dug up. See if we can get this puppy up. Oh, its roots aren't that deep at all. We got her up. Now we probably have to pick somewhere today to get this planted. So I got all 3 boxwoods in the ground, and I cannot wait to remulch over here and get that dirt covered up. Then I went over to the other end of the house, and I planted our little daisies and the other flowers that we got from Home Depot in between our hydrangeas and our hostas. One thing that I know I want to do in our flower beds is start planting more tight packed and get everything a lot closer together, which is kind of hard when plants haven't reached their full size yet. So you got to still leave space for things to grow. But I know that that's what I want to do in the future. As things get bigger, where we have empty spots, I want to fill them in so that everything is more tightly planted. I just love the look of that. Then I decided to transplant the little bush that we planted last year over where our new boxwoods are. I planted it over here on this side of our flower beds, and I think that if it grows, it'll give really nice shape and structure over on this side. All right, friends, that is all I've got time for today. I've probably got mud all over my face. I know I've got it under my fingernails. One day I'm gonna learn to put gloves on. But now I have to go get ready because I'm singing at the Grand Ole Opry tonight. There's still a ton of work that needs to be done out here. We need to remulch. I'd love to plant more plants. I still need to keep weeding. We've got a lot of work to do, but at least we got those plants in the ground, and we got some of the plants that we didn't want out of the ground. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. We're going to be doing projects all summer long, and you don't want to miss out on them. We love y'all. We hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.